Live from the Tri-State's news leader, Newswatch 14 at midday with Christy Bullard, and weather with meteorologist Byron Douglas.
One of the Paris, Illinois teens charged with murdering an Evansville Bristol-Myers employee goes to trial today. Good day and thank you for joining us. I'm Christy Bullard. Jury selection begins this morning in the murder trial of 17-year-old Joseph Henson Jr. It was last summer that 40-year-old Donna Hessman was found shot to death before dawn near the Meade Johnson parking lot where she had worked for 20 years. Police say Henson fired the shots, and Henson, who drove the stolen truck that eventually crashed into two Vanderburgh County Sheriff's deputies before the teens were arrested. Jason Wentz also faces murder charges. He'll be tried at a later date. Both face life without parole if found guilty. It looks like the jury could get the case by the end of this week in the John Stevenson triple murder trial. Today, the defense called its last witness to the stand, winding down what is one of the longest trials in Warwick County history. Jay Zimmer joins us live from Boonville from the courthouse. Jay, who was the last person to testify on day 139 of this trial?
Well, Christy, the last witness to testify in the defense's reopened case was Richard Williams, an inmate in the Vanderburgh County Jail. He called Tony Long's office earlier this week to say he had overheard a conversation between fellow inmates Jimmy Knight and Herschel Seifert. He told the jury that he heard Herschel Seifert tell Jimmy Knight that he was stupid for having left the clip to his weapon in John Stevenson's gun, and Jimmy Knight responded, according to Williams, by saying that he was stupid for having ordered the killings. Now, closing arguments are scheduled to begin tomorrow morning, and then the jury may get this case as early as late tomorrow afternoon. There is still a possibility that the judge might rule that the jury can go to the crime scene, as has been requested by the defense, but there's been no discussion on that at all. So the plans are now for closing arguments tomorrow after 8 long months in this third-floor courtroom, and then the jury will get the case. Christy?
Okay, Jay Zimmer reporting live from the Warwick County Courthouse. A Southern Illinois judge will decide whether an Albion man accused of beating his 4-year-old daughter to death will face the death penalty. Tuesday, 24-year-old Joseph Powell formally pleaded innocent in Edwards Circuit Court to the murder of his daughter, Lindsay. State's Attorney Brian Schinkel argued that Powell should face the death penalty because of the brutal nature of the attack. Lindsay died from blows from a hammer. Powell's stepbrother, 18-year-old Eric Sutton, also faces murder charges in connection to Lindsay's death. Now to a recall announcement, but it's not for an automobile or a toy. It's for Newsweek magazine. Newsweek is recalling its special issue called Your Child from newsstands. The issue will be reprinted due to misleading text recommending that parents let babies as young as 5 months old feed themselves uncooked carrot chunks and other foods that can cause choking. According to the New York Times, the recall was prompted by a phone call from a pediatrician reader. The magazine says the mistake was made by a copy editor who was working on 2 projects at the same time. This is the first time Newsweek has had to recall an issue. Prosecutors are hoping to link Timothy McVeigh to a series of phone calls made to suppliers of bomb components. More on the Oklahoma bombing trial coming up. And former Heaven's Gate members try to join the 39 that committed suicide. Details on that as well. But first, here's a look at how stocks are faring on Wall Street this midday.
This portion of Newswatch Midday is brought to you by Best Buy.
Today, police in Southern California are investigating the apparent suicide of yet another member of the Heaven's Gate cult. Investigators say they found packed bags, purple shrouds, and $5 bills in their pockets when they discovered the 2 cultists in a Southern California hotel room yesterday, just 4 miles away from where the mass suicide took place in March. One man was dead, the other was unconscious and taken to a hospital where he is in critical condition. Police say that they left a note suggesting that they were going to meet their leader behind the Hale-Bopp comment. A new witness on the stand this morning in the Oklahoma City bombing trial. Testifying today, a telephone company employee who specializes in security issues. The prosecution is attempting to prove that Timothy McVeigh used a prepaid telephone card to track down bomb components. Yesterday, McVeigh's sister Jennifer testified that her brother wrote her a letter just weeks before the bombing saying that, quote, something big is about to happen. McVeigh faces the death penalty if convicted of murder and conspiracy in the bombing of the Alfred Murrah building in Oklahoma City in 1995. A great day on tap for the tri-state, but there could be some rain in the forecast. The Storm Team's Byron Douglas is in next with your forecast. And if you have some unwanted critters around the house, our midday Q&A guest can help. Call 433-3456 or toll free at 1-800-959-1414. Stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. Storm Team meteorologist Byron Douglas joins us now. Another nice day out there, but unfortunately, you're saying some rain could be in store.
Yeah, the nice thing is the system's starting to work a little slower than expected, so we'll steal most of today with nice weather, but there is some rain on the way, but everything is moving basically from west to east, so what that will mean is everything will fall just in the form of some straight showers, so we're not looking at really any strong showers or thunderstorms like we've had over the last 10 days or so. Doppler 14 radar, we're scanning out 75 miles. Everything is quiet, at least right now out to areas of the west. That's where the rain will start to form. Right now, very nice. Temperatures all the way up to 69 degrees, starting this morning down to 45. So humidity at 49%. The air is very dry, and what happens is the clouds trying to work in, most of them are dissipating. The winds are out of the south at 9 miles an hour, and they'll continue to elevate our temperatures. The barometer is at 30.23 and falling slightly. We're looking at an afternoon high up to 75. That's just slightly above the normal on the high side. Records are safe. It was very cold back in 1944 at 33 degrees, and the focal point for as far as pollen is concerned, courtesy of GFI, is the tree pollen. The slow spring and the cool spring, everything's starting to bloom at once. High at Evansville at 22.3, Wabash at Mount Carmel 11.8, Reading Calhoun at 13.9. Lakes have warmed up to 63 degrees. Take a look at regional temperatures. Up in Chicago, they're at 59, 66 in Indianapolis, 51 in Cleveland, and 72 in Louisville, and 68 back in St. Louis and down in Paducah. They're at 67 degrees. Well, we continue to enjoy sunshine, but more clouds starting to organize, really starting to develop, especially up in northern Illinois, up to Chicago and southern Wisconsin. Clouds that are working in with high pressure control have been fizzling, but more will start to work in, especially late this afternoon, but we'll start to really cloud over completely tonight. So there are some showers up into Hannibal, Missouri, then extending up into the Quad Cities through Davenport, Iowa, and Rock Island, Illinois. Dry for us right now, then some rain back into Springfield, back into areas of Springfield, Missouri, just to the west, and then back into sections of Oklahoma, and some rain up in North Dakota, where they certainly don't need it, along the Red River Valley up along the Dakotas. High pressure is in control. It's over Ohio as it works to the east. Winds will be out of the south, so we'll elevate our temperatures, and then this system rolls in tonight. That's why tonight's low temperatures not too bad, into the middle 50s, and this is by us pretty quickly, so all the rain will be ending tomorrow late in the morning, and tomorrow's high temperatures a little bit cooler as they'll work into the 60s during the afternoon. Storm Team forecast partly sunny and warmer temperatures in the middle 70s, and then for tonight, mostly cloudy, some showers likely, especially after midnight and through the early morning hours, down to 57. So a nice evening, most of the rain coming in tonight. Thursday, morning showers ending, mostly cloudy, the high temperature up to 68, with a little sunshine coming in late in the day. And there's the extended outlook. Some rain expected on Friday, but cooler for the barbecue festival, but a little bit warmer on Mother's Day. Christy?
Well, that's some good news then. Well, as things warm up, critters start moving about, and maybe they're moving into your home. If so, we're ready to help. A pest control expert is our guest for Midday Q&A, and now is your chance to find out how to get rid of roaches, termites, mice, ants, or any other unwanted guests in your house. The phone lines are open now at 433-3456 or toll free at 1-800-959-1414. And Jim Warner from Action Pest Control joins us today to answer all of your pesky problems. Good morning, Jim.
Hi, Christy.
Let's go ahead and go to the phones. We have Rich from Henderson on the line. Good morning, Rich, and go ahead with your question.
Thank you. Jim, concerning groundhogs, I think I had one living in my roof. Finally got the hole covered up. But Can they climb trees? And also, what's the best method for trapping that critter?
Okay, they can indeed climb. Groundhogs can be very detrimental to property, and they can also turn on and be very aggressive attackers if they are cornered. They will attack such animals as dogs, and they have attacked humans. Probably the best way to trap those is actually to talk to a professional trapper, because they can be very aggressive, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get bit by them, and rather seriously. And if you do get bit, I can guarantee you it does hurt quite a bit. But yes, they can climb trees, so they can climb up trees and buildings, things like that.
All righty. Carol from Evansville has a question. Go ahead, Carol.
I have a problem with snakes getting in our basement. Yeah, I believe we have one down there now, and we're not sure how to get rid of it and how to keep them from coming back.
Okay.
What did you get in your basement again?
Snakes. Black
Snakes.
Snakes. Not a favorite topic of mine. There's one of the products out on the market. It's called Snake Away, and it's an actual granule that you can actually sprinkle around the outside of the house that will prevent snakes. It's a very smelly type product, and you put it around the outside of the house. The key thing you want to do is make sure that there are no snakes in the house, because once it is out, they will not cross over the barrier. The best way to get them out of the house, if there's one in your basement, is to put out some actual large mouse or rat glue boards, and they can get stuck on those. And we've caught snakes that way effectively. Of course, most snakes don't hurt anything, but if you're like I am, you definitely don't want one in your house. But the Snake Away product, and that can be purchased, I believe, at several of the local pest control companies, and I think even some of the hardware stores.
That snake board. I don't mind snakes, but even that would bother me.
There you go.
Marie from Evansville has a question. Go ahead, Marie.
Yes, sir. We have gotten some crickets in our basement over the winter, and I'm wondering, where do they come in, and how do I get rid of them?
Okay, where they come in most cases are through cracks and crevices. If you have a walkout basement or a window, a lot of times you'll find where maybe the mortar has broken away. They'll come in that way. Sometimes it's through a plumbing pipe going out, an outside faucet or something like that. So what we recommend is what we call exclusion. That is, you do some caulking around, check your mortar around the block and brick, things like that. There are some good over-the-counter residual products we've talked about in the past. Dursban is one of them. That there are no good baits to get rid of crickets right now like there are some of the other insects, but there's some good residuals over the product. Some general pest controls. Dursban's one of them that you can purchase at most hardware stores or pest control companies. Crickets are pretty easy to control.
Jean from Evansville is next. Go ahead, Jean. Jean, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I was going to ask what can be done about these big black ants. I think maybe they're called carpenter ants, but I'm not sure.
They probably are. If they're large black ants in the neighborhood of at least a quarter inch up to a half inch and maybe even bigger, those would be carpenter ants. They can actually do as much damage to your home as can termites, because they will actually chew into the wood and nest in galleries up into the wood structures of the house. So probably the best way to get rid of them is actually to have a professional company come out, because it may take some getting them, drilling into the wall voids and treating that way. There aren't a lot of good over-the-counter products for that.
Alrighty, Jim. Thanks so much. We've run out of time, but we appreciate it.
It goes fast.
It does, doesn't it? Well, would you know if you were having a panic attack? Next on Newswatch, some signs that you should look for and where you can get a free screening for help. And then a little later, some tips to help you pick the best tomatoes the next time you go to the grocery store. Stay with us.
From Patoka Lake to Scales Lake, the Wabash River to the Ohio River, and everywhere in between, your news is here on WFIE TV 14, the Tri-State's news leader.
If you're just joining us, here are the stories making headlines. Jury selection begins this morning for 17-year-old Joseph Henson. He stands accused of murdering 40-year-old Donna Hessman last summer near the Meade Johnson parking lot where she had worked for 20 years. In the John Stevenson triple murder trial, the defense has called its last witness to the stand. Closing arguments are slated to begin tomorrow, winding down one of the longest criminal trials in Hoosier history. And Newsweek is recalling its special issue, Your Child, from the newsstands because of some text that states parents should allow 5-month-olds to feed themselves uncooked carrot chunks and other foods that they could choke on. The Chicago Bulls open the second round of the NBA playoffs against Atlanta. Utah plays a close one out west with the Lakers, while the search is on for Rick Pitino's replacement at Kentucky. Dan Katz with the details in the Midday Sports Reel.
Dennis Rodman wasn't around for the end of Chicago's playoff game with Atlanta. He was ejected for a second technical in the third quarter and missed a big 16-point comeback by the Bulls. Scottie Pippen's sixth three-pointer of the night came in the final minute, and it lifted Chicago to a 197 victory and a 1-0 series lead. Out west, Utah's Karl Malone turned in a 31-point effort against the Lakers, and he also delivered the big play in the closing seconds, knocking the ball away from Nick Van Exel before he could take the final shot. Utah hangs on for a 103-101 victory and a 2-0 series lead. And off the court, the Boston Celtics got the man they wanted Tuesday, luring coach Rick Pitino away from Kentucky.
Came to the understanding that I couldn't and shouldn't turn down this opportunity because it's the same one I had 8 years ago.
The man who rebuilt the Wildcats will have a chance to rebuild the Celtics and earn $70 million over 10 years to do it. I'm Dan Katz, and that's a look at today's Sports Reel.
And there's a new addition to the list of new UK coaching possibilities. Minnesota coach Clem Haskins says that he hopes to interview for the job. Haskins told the Star Tribune in Minneapolis that he received a call from, quote, a prominent Kentucky alumnus asking if Haskins was interested. Georgia coach and former Pitino assistant Tubby Smith has also been mentioned. Others on the list include Herb Sendek of North Carolina State, Utah's Rick Majerus, and former Denver Nuggets coach and Kentucky All-American Dan Issel. Feeling like the walls are closing in on you, maybe losing your grip on reality? If so, you could be suffering from an anxiety disorder. But there are simple ways to pinpoint just which one you may have and get you on the right track for treatment. After our Health Watch report, I'll show you where you can go for a free screening. Here's Ann Comas now.
People have these thoughts of that they're going crazy, they're losing control, they're afraid they're dying, there's fears of impending doom, and in actuality we're looking at a panic attack.
It can happen to you anytime, anywhere. The problem is some people don't realize it's a panic attack. They think they're having a heart attack, maybe even a stroke. A screening can help. After filling out a short questionnaire and talking with a professional counselor, you'll know right away just what's wrong.
If we feel there's something there and they should be referred for some care for their anxiety disorder, we'll give them a list of a half a dozen or so places around the area that can treat them. Even though we're at St. Mary's, it's part of a national day, and we'll give them the numbers of different agencies and other hospitals that provide treatment for anxiety disorders.
About 90% of panic attacks can be controlled. That's good news, considering how debilitating they can be.
It is a situation or a disorder, if you will, that many people feel is so incapacitating that they just can't handle it. And we want to be here and just like you have all the other sites and help people understand it. Many people say that once they come in and there's a label or a name for it, it makes it easier to handle.
Panic attacks happen to men and women, but women are more likely to get help.
And today is National Anxiety Disorder Screening Day. You can go to the St. Mary's Counseling Center until 6 tonight or to the University of Southern Indiana until 5. The University of Evansville is also taking part. They are offering afternoon hours 1 until 5, and so is Ivy Tech 12 until 4 p.m. For more information, call St. Mary's Medical Center at 485-4790, and all of these screenings are free. We'll be right back. The Storm Team's Jeff Lyons is one of the funniest folks around NBC 14, but his mother says that his personality sprouted years before. We'll meet Jeff's mom tonight as our special reports, Moms of Newswatch 14, continue tonight on Newswatch. So catch that story and much more tonight. Tomatoes come in many shapes and sizes in the grocery store. Which ones do you select? As Mr. Food tells us, each tomato has a purpose.
There was a time when we thought of buying tomatoes, we only thought of the round, good old standby fresh juicy tomato that's the reason for our salad and for sandwiches and that go along to almost every dish in the world. And that tomato could be anything from a medium or small size and light red color to full red color, all the way to the beefsteak tomato, which today means any big red slicing tomato. But now we've got a choice of more kinds of tomatoes in the markets. Not that they're brand new varieties, they're simply becoming more available. So more are being used, like the Roma tomato, also known as the Italian or plum tomato. It's a sweeter, firm, flesh tomato, less seeds and juice, which always makes them the favorite for a cooking tomato. And now they're being used more in salads and salsas because they always taste ripe and rich. And probably the sweetest of all the tomatoes is the cherry tomatoes. They're being grown and shipped in record numbers because they're easy to handle and portion. They hold up well, and they always taste the most like homegrown native tomatoes, perfect for our veggie platters too. Then there's miniatures of those around also. And then there are yellow tomatoes, the regular size and the little teeny pear-shaped ones. A bit pricey, but a nice change. And both of them are very, very low in acid. So they're the mildest tasting of all tomatoes. I mean, if you have an acid problem, that's the one. And these little ones are great for making so many salads look fancy. But then again, any tomato will make a salad fancy. And remember, never put tomatoes in the fridge. Keep them on the kitchen counter at room temperature, and then every kind of fresh tomato will be juicier and tastier. Oh, it's so good.
Alrighty, we'll see you back here tomorrow. You're watching NBC 14 WFIE Evansville.